Welcome back to Heist Central, where we plan on blowing up the entire world, in GTA of course. Blowing up the world would be silly, and the mention of it might get us on some kind of watch list. If you too share our penchant for unbridled destruction of property and the theft for cars, then you're going to love what GTA 6 has in store for players. Yes, it seems that Zeus, Thor, and all the gods themselves want a piece of the GTA action and will be looking to cause some destruction of their own. Weather events are going to feature as set pieces to your criminal career, turning the mundane sunny beaches of Vice City into hurricane-swept nightmare zones of sheer destitution. Doesn't that sound fun? Let's take a swim in the hurricane waters of what some leaks suggest might be coming in GTA 6, so that we can all take a dip and try not to drown. Job listings leave some hints. Back in 2021, Rockstar posted a job for a visual effects artist with the lines, quote, "The visual effects help to immerse the player in a believable world, from using ambient effects for things like insects around the player and rain dripping off buildings, up to large-scale destruction events like skyscrapers crashing to the ground." Naturally, one can gather there that Rockstar is really going for some realistic immersive effects before going full-on crazy with some large-scale destruction, even going so far as to describe that some of Vice City's skyscrapers may come crashing to the ground. We don't know if that means that you, the player, will be able to bring some buildings down of your own accord, or whether it will feature as part of the story where a heist reaches fast and furious levels of insanity. But in any case, the fact that Rockstar wants to take the map from a standard backdrop to a destructible, ever-changing environment is exciting on its own. Of course, players got pretty hyped at this news. The thought of being able to play GTA for the first time in a fully destructible environment sent fans of the franchise nuts, bringing the chaos of GTA to new fronts where you could really do some damage. Stealing jets, tanks, or other military hardware and destroying buildings seems incredible enough on its own. Although, this is all just speculation and cannot be confirmed. There is no guarantee that Rockstar will actually be able to make this possible. Destructible buildings that are widely spaced out in large open maps like Battlefield are one thing, but making an entire city one big demolishable playground is probably a big ask. Not to mention that the game world will be full of NPCs that will react, talk, and have their own routines. It's doubtful that the technology of our current consoles and PCs will be up to the task. No one wants to have to buy a quantum supercomputer capable of rendering data from the James Webb Telescope in order to play just one game. Unless you like Star Citizen. As for the job listing, it didn't specifically mention GTA, but what it does go on to say is this, quote, "We control vast networks of data that drive many large systems. Our technology is used to tie the world together. Weapons create bullet impacts. Vehicles kick up dirt and smoke and leave debris when they crash. Objects get dirty when they fall in the mud." This is what led most fans to believe that they were indeed hiring a VFX artist to work on GTA 6. After all, it's not like there are many vehicles kicking up dust in Red Dead Redemption. Unless you count horses, however. The only debris that they leave is photorealistic poop. Speaking of, Rockstar have already admitted that they are no longer going to be adding any new content to RDR Online and are moving development staff and resources away from it to work on GTA 6. Without saying out loud, Rockstar are essentially telling the world that they aren't working on any new IPs, so they can focus their attention on the latest GTA. So does this confirm that we will have a fully destructible playground in Vice City? Unfortunately, the answer to that is probably no. As we said earlier, it would be a huge undertaking to pull something like that off, and it's unclear if the technology we have right now would even be able to support it. Not to mention that everything we know from leaked material and the little announcements from Rockstar that we've been treated to can't be said to be completely confirmed, as it can all be subject to change. It wasn't too long ago that it looked like we'd be getting a North and South American location in the game with the ability to travel freely between the two. That was dropped, as it was a little bit too ambitious, and now we'll only have Vice City and its surrounding counties to play with on release. It is certainly within the realm of possibility that we will have destructible buildings and locations in the game, but this could be limited to certain missions and possible weather events. a cool cutscene that could be the result of a mission or possible choices that the player makes within the story events. One example that comes to mind is the story mission in Red Dead Redemption 2, Blood Feuds, Ancient and Modern. Be warned, you're about to hear some spoilers if you haven't played it yet. Although if you haven't, what are you doing? Go and play this epic game and thank us in a few weeks. As Dutch leads his Van der Linde gang across a dying American frontier, fighting in its death throes against the rapid expansion of industrialization. With the law, the modern world and the 20th century hot on their heels, the gang have been leaving a mess of human shrapnel in their wake. As Dutch becomes more and more desperate, losing his mind along with the confidence of his gang. Having been driven from place to place, the gang eventually lands in Lemoyne, a territory reminiscent of the Louisiana South, where they had some run-ins with the Braithwaites, a plantation-owning family and breeders of prize horses. After the gang stole some of said prized horses, the Braithwaites' matriarch, Catherine, has Jack Marston, John Marston's young son, kidnapped. Although the gang don't know it at the time, they assume it was the Braithwaites that were behind Jack's disappearance and ride hard for the Braithwaite manor. A violent gunfight ensues where all of the Braithwaite men present are gunned down by Dutch, Arthur, and the rest of the gang. Dutch and Hosey enter the manor and find Catherine and her two remaining sons barricaded inside. After an assault by a posse of gunmen that the gang have had to fend off, Arthur makes his way into the room and guns down both of her sons. Dutch questions Catherine, demanding to know Jack's location, and upon seeing one of her sons still clinging to his mortal coil, shoots him in front of her. When the gang searches the manor and can't find Jack anywhere, they decide to scorch the earth and the manor with it, while Dutch drags Catherine outside. Catherine, with her family dead, her home and legacy in ruins, tells Dutch that she has turned Jack over to Angelo Bronte, admitting that she was indeed behind his kidnapping. As the gang leave behind a scene of utter devastation, Catherine enters her once proud plantation home, one final time as it burns to the ground around her. Thus ends the story of the Braithwaites, tossed into the lake of souls that the Van der Linde gang have collected along their ceaseless journey to imagined riches. You, playing as either Arthur Morgan or Jack Marston in the epilogue, can return to Lemoyne and the site of the once proud Braithwaite manor, only to find that it is no longer there. In its place will be ashes and broken dreams, a legacy extinguished, and you are left to ponder whether violence begets violence, and whether anything done throughout the story was really worth it in the end. In any case, if there are going to be pivotal story events similar to this one in GTA 6, they will definitely need some very good VFX artists, as that mission in RDR2 was fire. Literally. The job posting is enough of a hint in itself that there are going to be plenty of action-packed missions in GTA 6. High-octane sequences involving car chases, explosions, destruction of buildings, and, as alluded to in the posting, a skyscraper crashing to the ground. It might not all be destruction. Since we got all our hands on RDR2, we've been marveling at the living, changing world that Rockstar managed to create. In RDR2, buildings are not only destroyed, but also constructed over time. When playing the epilogue as John Marston, places that were under construction during your time as Arthur will end up being completed. Places that were once vibrant forests will have been cleared by timber companies, ever thus to the march of industrialization. GTA 5 is no different. New buildings and places have been added over time during its online updates, with one notable exception. The Mile High Club has been under construction in the GTA 5 city of Los Santos since the game was first released, nearly a full decade ago, and as a day in GTA 5 lasts only 48 minutes, that is around 240 in-game years, which is only slightly longer than any council construction job in the United Kingdom. Maybe they might actually get it finished before the release of GTA 6, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Still, seeing the world develop over time with the construction of buildings and the completion of infrastructure projects will go a long way to making the map more than just a set-piece backdrop for all the chaos that you, the player, will be causing. We've definitely got some kind of playground of destruction to look forward to. Will we see skyscrapers falling to the ground? Maybe. The job posting suggests that we will probably see at least one building come crashing down into the streets of Vice City. Whether it's by the player's own design or the unavoidable consequences of events once they unfold is still a mystery. It's probably not going to be a case of Vice City coming down all around the player while they cruise around in free roam, although we could end up being pleasantly surprised. We'll still be able to enjoy all the carnage of GTA in free roam by destroying cars, street vendors, and ramming into various shops that we want to rob. 'Cause GTA never changes. What do you think? Do you think we'll be able to bring down a building in free roam? Ramming a car through one of its stories, sailing through the air and crashing it into an adjacent building, like that silly scene in Fast and Furious? Or do you think it will only be reserved for an epic story mission? Let us know in the comments and we'll be sure to take them on board, once the scriptwriter has finished crying from all the mean ones. If you enjoyed this video and think you're ready for GTA 6, well, guess again, because let me tell you, dear viewer, you're not ready for GTA 6 at all. Click on the video on screen to find out why. If you'd like even more heisted GTA content brought right to your screen, then click like, click subscribe. Tell YouTube what you want, and it shall oblige. The all-knowing algorithm demands we feed it so that you may be satisfied with all things GTA.